My friends, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about our artesian well we have out here at Everstoke, our 91 acres of rugged, hot, and smoky land here in Northern California. We know at some point somebody dug a well. We don't know how deep it is. We know it has a nasty, rusted out pipe around it, and we know it's artesian because it's flowing out from the top. They say you'll die without water in 3 days. I think it's more like 3 hours out here, so we have to get this well working for us. It's so funny with pricing. Every step of the way in this project, when you research it online, it says, digging a well, that's like 5,000 bucks. It's like 8,000 bucks, 3,000 bucks. And then you talk to your neighbors and they're like, yeah, I think it was $25,000 to drill our well. Once we got that well cap off, we were actually able to start using the well with one of these little 12-volt water pumps, and this thing was a lot more powerful than I ever imagined. But the second you hook it up to power, it starts drawing, so you got to be ready. You got to have your hose down the well. You got to have your exhaust, the output hose ready to go, and it will start going. Maybe more than 5 gallons per minute. It was a ton of water. So now we've got a decent little setup that can hold us over until I actually figure out what's what and do all my research and watch a bunch of videos and see what the plan is moving forward, because it's overwhelming. There's a bunch of stuff and it's going to take me a little while to digest it all. So now that I am a YouTube expert on wells, there's a lot of things I got to figure out. Number one, how deep the well is. We can measure how wide across it is and then how deep it is. That will tell us how much water is just in the well at any given time. And I've got me here a 400-foot tape, and I'm actually going to lock this on the bottom of it and drop it down the well. It seemed like people were doing this kind of similar thing in the videos I saw. Don't want to drop anything in the well. I guess I should double check if we have the key for this one. So the hope here is that we go all the way to the bottom. The deeper the well goes, the more lucky we get. If it's only 25 feet deep, you have to think that it's just not that much water. And we're gonna pump out this water, and the water probably isn't at the water table. The deeper it is, the better chance you're actually at the water table. And when you pump out water, it just rushes back in naturally. We have this artesian well, so we know there's a lot of pressure and that it's overflowing and that the water can get to the top, but that doesn't mean that it'll be able to refill very fast. And then it also means this thing could just stop flowing at any minute because it's an artesian well. When there's pressure that stops, it might just dry up, it might have run its course, and then there's nothing. But if we're actually deep enough to get to the water table, it's a little more forgiving. It can still run dry. Wells run dry all the time. California, it's a big drought. We know it's possible. So this is our makeshift current well situation. Okay. Come on, baby, come on. Uh, 29 feet already? What? Go, go, go. Don't slow down. Come on. 137 feet? I don't believe it. Run it dry. Let's keep going. Every single foot matters so much. It's gonna take me a while to reel this back in. Oh. We have hit bottom 213 feet. That is really good. I'll do the math here in a second, but if you think about this pipe being 230 feet deep, or 213 times 4, I'll measure it here in a second, but 4 inches, huge. This is lots and lots of water is in this well just here, right now. So I think we're very lucky right now. This is the best of both worlds, to have a very deep well that's hopefully in the water table and have it be artesian where the overflow can go places. I'm so stoked, dude. I didn't think there was a chance. I thought it was gonna be 25 feet, like or 10 feet. Somebody just messing around. Not silty, not dirty. Doesn't mean it's not silty or dirty down there, but I think that's kind of a good sign. Based on the YouTubing I've been doing, I'm an expert. 6-inch. Okay, so let's do the math. Not in our heads though, on the iPhone app. Okay, we Googled it. 213 feet deep, 6 inches wide, 312 gallons are in the pipe, staying cool, automatic, right here, right now. So we've been doing decent when it comes to water procurement over the past few weeks. We had a 12-volt pump. I just burned that thing out, so now I got a 110 pump. It ain't sucking good at all, and it was expensive. So I went for the big old submersible pump. I got the poly tubing. I got all the fittings. So today's project, to try to put that thing together, sink it as deep as we can in the well, and see what happens. Will we actually get a really good setup now? It's like a 2.0 setup, but eventually we'll need a 3.0 setup because it's still not going to be perfect, but I think it's going to be pretty good. So as you may have noticed, the well cap is kind of half on, half off. Somebody welded a plate to the top of it, and we were able to knock half of it off, but now we need to take the whole thing off to be able to fit the submersible pump down there. Yes. And now that we're good to go, I can put this cap I got over the top. That's a lot better than the old Tupperware. So this is our pump. We're gonna sink this thing about 150 feet down because that's how much electrical wire I got. And we're gonna see if this thing can really pump out some water. It looks awesome, looks like something from Star Wars. And the first thing I gotta do is actually get it wired up to an electrical cord so we can test it, put it in some water, see if it runs. And these lever nuts are a great way to be able to test out the wiring. I can just snap these on, snap them off instead of the old wire nut thing that you have to spin around. So much easier, such a good tight connection. I got one more I gotta wire up. These pumps are always a pain because the second you plug them in, they just start going. So I got this thing. It's like a little outdoor wireless switch, so I can just remote control, turn on, turn off. So we want the water to start shooting out here, but this is gonna get sucked dry so fast. All right, let's just see what happens. Woohoo! Yes! Put it on the board. Go.
Oh my God, that feels so good.
So now I need to splice together my big old spool of wire with the wire coming off the pump. They supplied these crimping things. I'm not gonna use the crimping. I will use the heat shrink tubing that'll keep it waterproof, hopefully, but I'm not a fan of crimping. I'm gonna use this heat shrink solder stuff that I found on the YouTube channel, Silver Symbol. I've bought a bunch of stuff from his channel because it's just such useful stuff that I didn't even know existed. We definitely need a little propane blowtorch out here because I'm plugging this into our off-grid solar system and it's gonna drain the battery really, really fast, but it will work. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. I did electrical tape, then some Christie's 10 mil tape. Now we gotta test it again. If you ever think it will be in your future to strip a wire, I highly recommend getting a pair of these Klein catapults. Oh my goodness. I've been using this kind of thing for most of my life, and it's always a joke. You never know what you're doing. It doesn't ever, it seems like it should work every time, but this, once you learn how to use it, it works every time. So nice. Okay, I've had this submerged for about 10 minutes now. I mean, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all, but if there's some catastrophic failure in there, at least it'll let me know and it won't spray. So here we go. We're good. We're getting a little closer here. I just looked up some knots on YouTube, and now I've got the safety rope attached. Okay, time for the next step. I've got the pipe all laid out here to hopefully bake in the sun a little bit and become a little more flexible. And now I'm gonna have to attach the pump, attach the wire, attach the rope, and tape it all up every 10 feet or so. And this is gonna be probably a little bit of a wrestling match. Round one. Okay, several hours later, and I'm finally starting to get in the groove. I laid some rope out so I could mark the rope instead of measuring the pipe, and now I got the pipe all strewn out, and it's gonna be all dirty, so I'm gonna have to wipe the whole thing down. I've got the rat's nest here, but I think it's okay. I'm laying it over. It shouldn't get tangled. We'll see about that. I've probably got halfway done. Here we go. It's showtime. This wellhead is definitely some sharp, rusty old metal. So I got some pipe foam here to put around the edge, and I'm hoping that'll kind of keep things from getting too scratched up. If we cut one of those cables, oh, that'd be bad. All right, that looks good. That's safe enough to sit on. Okay, let the battle begin. I'm gonna try to wipe this thing down just enough, not catch it on anything, and bombs away.
Whoa. It's pushing the water right out.
Big displacement. Okay, we unfurled it a bunch more. We'll wipe it down a bunch more. We'll give it a sink. Okay, 140 feet down. We've got our line coming out here. A little wibbly wobbly, but it's going right to the water station. We'll just cut this hose off and be able to feed the tanks directly. Man, that worked pretty good. So this is temporary right now, obviously, because we don't want it to be open for stuff to be able to get in there. We'll fix that kind of sorta, and then eventually we'll get a better well plug. We can run stuff up through it. And now we're wired up. I just gotta hit the button. Okay, it's time for the magic moment. I think we're gonna let the first bit run just because it's so dirty in there. Let's see if this thing has enough range. Yep.
Something kicked on.
Whoa, it's coming fast.
As soon as all that air's out, it'll start pushing.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, that actually looks really cool. Whoa!
It's so cold. It's so
Oh,
nice.
wow. Dude, that is awesome.
Some may call this hillbilly, but we call it MacGyvering out here. That is as good as the day is long. We just got this going last night, our big to-do list. So Aaron already worked on the pad for our future shipping container, and then dropped the well pump. Yeah.
Nice.
To-do's to done. So this is a very big victory for now. We still will have to, at some point, rip out that old rusty steel casing in the well and get it redone with PVC to actually make this drinkable, decent water. But for now, we can get a ton of water out of here for whatever we want, for the trails, for irrigation, for making a flushable toilet eventually, because we're doing septic as well. We got a million little things on the list, as you saw on the little to-do board. So, another day, another victory. I'm worn out. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the trail.